Hey guys, welcome back to the next part of our series. Today we're going to continue with the post-production of this scene, which we already changed to an 16-bit scene in the last element. So yeah, this is what we're going to do. I'm just going to add a couple of lines. Let's start with a curves. We definitely want to have a curves. And again, I'm going to press Alt and click here so that this curves element is only affecting this layer right here. And we're going to do the traditional effect. So we're going to just like darken the shadows a little bit here, push the colors up there, and there we go. I do think the saturation is a little bit too much. So I'm going to bring the saturation back again. And there we go. Now we can add like a color balance, I think would be nice. Let's start by changing the shadows. So let's go for like a little bit of a warmer or like softer shadow. And the highlights, let's make them a little bit warmer like that. There we go. Now I'm gonna do a paint over pass, and I'm gonna do this on top of all of these things. So after the changes, and what I want to do is I want to push some of these things like further back. So I'm gonna grab like a blue color here and a soft brush. This is normally done in other softwares, by the way, but I'm gonna be improvising a little bit. So I'm gonna grab the same color of the sky like this, and just like lower the opacity a little bit. And then with an eraser, again soft erase it, but really small. Let's just try to not contaminate the clouds as much. So as you can see, what that does is it pushes that mountain back. It makes it look like it's further back. And I'm gonna go back to my brush. I'm gonna do the same for this one right here. So all of this mountain is gonna go all the way back. So we're pushing it back. Let's go with my E brush and recover some of the character. And again, those sort of details, like those little effects right there, are really useful to push a couple of things back into space. See, very subtle, very simple, but it's definitely giving us way more depth on the whole thing, right? What else can we do here? Oh, the planets, right? So let's look for planet day sky. And I'm just gonna have this sort of stuff, right? Like just the indication of something. Oh, that's great, but unfortunately it's watermarked. Let's look for something. Even this could work, like just this sort of silhouette. I'll show you why. Copy. We bring this here, and if we set this to screen, it gets rid of the blacks. So we can just add this one right here, and then of course we blur it out. So it's kind of like a huge moon that we have right there. Cool. Now, going back to this ones, we can push this ones back as well. So I'm gonna grab like this sort of like wide effect, and again just remove some of the glow to make the pieces or the elements look like they're a little bit farther away. And now for the magic trick, we can of course add one color lookup table, and we can load one of the lookup tables that we have and see if it's something that we want, something that looks cool for what we're going for. Let's go for faded. Let's see how that looks. Oh, oh my God! This is I really feel like cheating whenever I use like this sort of like cube elements, because like, let's face it, this already looks like a shot from a movie, and I mean, I don't know what else we could ask for. Let's just bring this down a little bit. Let's go for like a 50, so it's not like super intense, and let's go for our traditional little letterbox here that I love to use. Again, the letterbox, it's not really necessary, but it's one of those things that I feel like adds some sort of like, it looks like a storyboard frame or something. For some reason, I've always thought that this sort of compositions looks really good, and I like using them. I really like using them on my stuff. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I would like to add to this particular scene, but I don't think so. Like, it already looks really nice, really clean. We can add some like dust particles or stuff like that. Like this guy's definitely look a little bit too perfect. So we could add a little bit of texture. Remember how we add the grunge texture? So we can go grunge texture. And literally any texture will work. It's definitely gonna flatten the composition a little bit, but it could work. Let's just make this way smaller. And we set this to like an like this. What's that difference? Okay, that works. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna mask this. I'm gonna mask it out, and then with a small brush, we can just like mask it back in. Gotta have to be very careful so that we don't paint the sky in this case. Can of course play around with the opacity. And again, it's just to add something, right? Because it definitely looks a little bit too clean. So it's just to break up the surface a little bit. And since we're not doing an animation, this is just a frame, right? Like a concept piece. Then we're perfectly fine. If we were doing an animation, this could also be done on an animation, but there's a lot more work involved. Yeah, perfect. Even this one's, I think I want to add, let's duplicate, bring this one here, make it smaller so that the thing matches. And then erase everything first, and then just hit X to invert the mask. And again, just a couple of dots here and there to break up some of the surface. Now the image is really clean. I think a little bit of grain would be great, so I'm gonna look for camera grain real quick. Let's go for something that's not super obvious. Oh, this looks interesting. Let's see if we have like a really big one. So let's go Tools, Large, and usually I like to go for color. Ooh, this is interesting. Oh, this is great. Great. It's great because it's really big, which is amazing for us, and it has colors. So when we set this to, again, like soft light works fine. And we just lower this to like a 5%, or maybe if we want to be a little bit more extreme, we can go for like a 10%. And let's bring them underneath the letterbox. And there we go. So now we're gonna have a little bit of grain over the whole scene. It's gonna have some nice stones. And that's it. We've finished our first scene. So we're gonna do 2 more scenes. I'm gonna do one close-up for the character, which is gonna be the next one, and then we're gonna do one like super dark and contrasty, like in the night with a lightsaber and everything. So yep, that's it for now, guys. Hang on tight, and I'll see you back tomorrow. Bye bye.